She walked into the Ferrari showroom, pointed at $1 million car like it was a rental scooter, and demanded a 6-month lease, no credit check, no insurance, no rules. When I told her no, she forged documents, lied under oath, and even tried to turn an entire neighborhood against me. But in the end, it wasn't me who got exposed, it was her, in front of the very people she thought she controlled. Act 1. The conflict begins. The bell above the door gave its polite little chime, the same sound it always makes when someone walks into prestige Ferrari of Scottsdale. Normally, that sound means excitement, dreams coming true. But this time, the air shifted. She came striding in like she was inspecting her own property. Blonde helmet hair, stiff white blazer, eyes scanning past the art, past me, straight to the red SF-90 Stradale in the center of the room. 1,000 horsepower of pure dragon. "That one," she said, pointing. "Not asked, ordered." I smiled the way I always do. Calm, professional. "She's beautiful, isn't she? 900 plus horsepower, hybrid system." She waved me off. "I need it for 6 months. No extra checks." 6 months. No checks. No insurance. Like she was picking up a blender at Walmart. "Our leases start at 24 months. That's not policy. That's the law of the land." I told her as much, explained the process. Credit application, specialty insurance, mandatory track orientation. She laughed, like I'd just told her a bad joke. "Rules are for people without titles," she said. And that's when I knew she wasn't just a difficult client. She was a Karen in her final form, an HOA president with power, used to bending rules like paper straws. She left that day with a smile that wasn't a smile at all. It was a promise, a threat. Act 2. Escalation and the breaking point. A few days later, her name popped up in my inbox. Subject line, asterisk, proof of insurance. Asterisk. Attached was a single PDF. At first glance, looked legit. Insurance binder for a Ferrari. 5 million in liability. But I'm a detail guy. I zoomed in. The company logo was pixelated. The font switched halfway through the page. And the policy number, 123456789. Really? I called Robert, our finance lead. He took one look, shook his head, and whistled. Did she make this in Microsoft Paint? It would have been funny if it wasn't fraud, a felony. But Karen didn't stop there. She showed up at a professional racetrack, waving a fake certificate with a shiny gold sticker from a craft store. Claimed she'd completed some online training course. Coach Diaz, the grizzled instructor who's been teaching people to drive fast since before I was born, didn't even glance at it. "There is no online course," he said flatly, "and you're not on my list." Her face turned crimson. "Do you know who I am?" "Yes," Diaz said. "You're not on my list." She stormed off in a cloud of gravel, but I knew she wasn't finished. And I was right. A day later, my boss called. His voice was tight with stress. Karen had gone over my head, accused me of discrimination, threatened a media storm. He hated conflict, hated bad publicity. I could hear it in his voice. Asterisk, Jake. Maybe just give her what she wants. Asterisk. That was the moment I cracked. I went home, sat on the floor, surrounded by bills and stress, and for the first time in years, I almost gave up. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was just making this harder than it needed to be. Maybe I should walk away before I lost everything. But then I remembered my brother's advice. Asterisk. Document. Everything. Paper doesn't forget. Asterisk. That thought pulled me back. I wasn't going to fold. Not this time. So when Karen demanded a test drive to prove herself, I set the trap. 1 lap. Dealer-owned car. Full telemetry recording every throttle press, every brake, every steering twitch. She bragged she didn't need instruction. She ignored every command from Coach Diaz over the radio. She floored it into corners, slammed gas and brake at the same time, blew straight past a yellow flag. By the time we pulled back into the pit, my hands were shaking, my shirt drenched with sweat. Karen, she was grinning ear to ear. "See? Perfect. Perfect. The telemetry printout looked like an earthquake. Full throttle, 80% brake, missed apexes, zero control. Coach Diaz held up the sheet. On my track, that gets you banned for life. But Karen had another play. She whipped out her phone and went live on social media, tears in her eyes. I'm being bullied. This is sexism. They don't want a strong woman driving a Ferrari. Thousands watched. My phone buzzed non-stop. For a moment, I thought she'd won. And then help arrived. Tessa, one of my clients, a model and Ferrari owner, filmed her own video. Calm, factual. I'm a woman. I bought my Ferrari here. I followed the process. Credit, insurance, training. It's the same for everyone. This isn't sexism. It's safety, Robert added his voice, explaining dealership policy like a lawyer in court. No drama, just facts. Our video spread. The tide turned. But the real knockout was still coming. Act 3, the showdown. That's when I got a call from Hunter, a neighbor in Karen's HOA. We've suspected her for years, he said. Fees keep going up. Services keep getting worse. She controls the money, won't show receipts. We think she's stealing. My gut told me he was right. And when the homeowners forced an audit, the truth spilled out. Charges for spas listed as pool maintenance, steakhouse dinners filed as board expenses, and thousands flowing into a landscaping company registered under her maiden name. She was literally paying herself with HOA money. The community called a special meeting. The room was packed, air thick with tension. Karen sat at the front, confident, flanked by her little clique. She thought it was just another night of whining residents. Hunter stepped up first, projecting charges onto the screen: spa visits, handbags, luxury dinners. The crowd murmured, voices rising. Karen lunged for the mic. Lies, slander. A retired judge in the crowd cut her down. Point of order overruled. Then it was my turn. Marcus, our security guy, plugged in a thumb drive. On the big screen behind Karen's head, the evidence rolled out like a prosecutor's closing argument. Asterisk security cam still of her demanding a 6-month lease. Asterisk. Her forged insurance binder beside a real one, with the fraud investigator's letter stamped. Asterisk. Fraudulent. Asterisk. Asterisk. The crumpled fake track pass. Asterisk. And finally, the telemetry printout. Jagged chaos, proving she couldn't handle the car. Slide after slide. Her mask slipped further. She went pale, then red, then purple. This is a conspiracy, she screamed, pointing at me in the back. They faked it all. Robert stepped calmly to the podium. Defamation requires lies, he said, his voice clear and steady. Everything shown tonight is verifiable fact. This isn't slander. This is accountability. And just like that, the room turned, hands shot up. A vote was called. Nearly every resident raised their arm to remove her as president. Only Karen and her 2 allies opposed. The motion carried. Karen's power evaporated right there. Under the harsh light of the projector, she shoved back her chair, grabbed her purse, and stormed out, but not before hissing at me as she passed. You'll regret this, maybe, but in that moment, it wasn't me who had something to regret. Final line. The higher you climb on lies and shortcuts, the harder you crash when the truth finally catches up.